What up, nation? CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I'm bringing you another Thursday night showdown slate breakdown. A little first look action, right? Little lineup build type show. I represent the Wise Take Nation. You can find the Wise Take Nation at their home, at their website at wisetake.com. And you can follow along on Twitter at wise_take for any updates, any sales, anything like that. We also are on Facebook, facebook.com/wisetake, Instagram, instagram.com/wisetake. Obviously, if you're watching this, you know about the YouTube channel. Hopefully, you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, you need to be subscribed. And make sure you hit the notifications bell so you are notified whenever we do put content out. I've been doing a lot of NFL content this year. We've got NBA DFS starting very, very soon over at wisetake.com. We will be covering the preseason via article. NBA preseason is very tough. It's all about injury news and not even injury news, but understanding what the coaches are going to do for those preseason games, who they're going to play, how much they're going to play them, things like that. So we're going to be dedicating a lot of our time during the week to not only NFL research, but also to NBA DFS preseason as we go into the the busiest season of the year. NBA, NFL, let's go. But yeah, the NBA season pass is also out. Make sure you take advantage of that. With the discount Early Owl, I think it's Early Owl NBA 2019. Go check our Twitter, and you'll see the promo up there. Get the season pass for $50 off for the entire NBA season, and you'll get in the Slack chat. Let's go. Hopefully, you've already checked out some of the other videos we've done. I've done a first look for Week 5's main slate, and of course, we've done last night. We did the NFL DFS podcast for this week, little midweek podcast action with myself, Patty Joe, and Paulie D all from Wise Take. And we're locked and loaded, ready to go. We got the NFL Wise stream for paid subscribers on Saturday at 12:30 p.m. with myself and Paulie D, breaking down the NFL slate after some of this news breaks out and after we've done our research and whatnot. So if you're subscribed, make sure you check that out. And of course, all of our final thoughts for Week 5's main slate will be written via article. We got Patty Joe doing a FanDuel breakdown, Paulie doing a DraftKings breakdown, and I, of course, will be giving my GPP notes with my core and all that good ish. All right, enough of that. We are moving on to the Thursday night showdown after I tell you guys we need some likes, man. The last, I think, Monday Night Football Showdown, we got 50 likes. That was the goal. We did get it. I'm going to be a little more ambitious today and ask for 75 likes. We are going to do a giveaway at the end of the show, so stay tuned. Be ready. We are going to do a giveaway, but only if we get 75 likes. So you might as well hit that like button right now so you don't forget, and we'll do the giveaway at the end. All right, let's go ahead and break it down, if you will. We've got the showdown slate pulled up, the little donkey action. 188,000 people on this motherfucker. 400K up top. That's a lot of money. As far as the captain goes, Russell Wilson, if I'm going to pick a quarterback, he is the highest priced. Would be the way I'd go. We've got some rushing upside here. That's something Jared Goff just doesn't do. The potential for rushing touchdowns against New Orleans. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, which is why he had such a big game. Against Arizona, I know it was a little disappointing. He was very popular. Only threw for 1 touchdown, 240 yards. He just didn't need to. Carson was doing so well on the ground. They were controlling the game. Their defense played well. They really didn't need Russell Wilson to ball out. And that's really what it comes down to, is Wilson's only good when they need him to be good. So against Cincinnati, that was a game that, in theory, looks like they needed him to be good. But in all actuality, they were controlling that game for most of it. Cincinnati kind of crept in as the game went on. Pittsburgh, that game was tight. And you can see Russell Wilson did what he was supposed to do. New Orleans, that game... his team was trailing. New Orleans got out to a raging hot start, and Russ had to push it. So it really depends on the script you're going with. If you think this game shoots out, which I think it does, we've got like a really high total in this game. And yeah, these are 2 teams that have really, explosive type offenses because of Russell Wilson. And of course, on the other side, because of Cooper Kupp, Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, Gurley, all those guys. And so, yeah, I think it does make sense to put Russ in the hot spot if you're going for that type of build, because Russ, again, is going to offer you more of that rushing upside personally himself, and the game is just more in his hands. He's the best player on the field for that team. The downside, of course, is if the Rams give up a lot of rushing yards, which they have. We've seen Christian McCaffrey, granted a lot of it was on volume, but Christian McCaffrey beat him up. Then I think we saw another running back also do dirties. Let's see if I could figure out who they played real quick. It was, so Nick Chubb had like 23 carries and 90-something yards. Really wasn't great. So even though the Rams have given up the 8th most fantasy points to running backs, I don't think that they're awful against the run. I still think that the pass is where you want to exploit them. Now, it's been backwards. Against quarterbacks, the Rams have given up the 23rd most fantasy points to quarterbacks, 8th to running backs, 18th wide receivers, 22nd to tight ends. However, we're looking at their DVOA. They are 10th overall, which is good. They're 8th against the run and 13th against the pass. So, again, in their DVOA, even showing that you want to attack them through the air. We saw last week they played Jameis Winston and the Bucs, and Winston went nuts, and they just put up a monstrous amount of scores. They kept getting beat deep, all of which I think works well for Russell Wilson. So, he works. I think that Jared Goff is fine in the captain spot at 15-3. My problem with Goff, we saw last week, all the volume you could get, right? Dude had a ton of volume. 68 pass attempts. 517 yards. 2 touchdowns. It's not 4 or 5 touchdowns, but it is 2 touchdowns. And he got a 27, which isn't bad by any means. But he wasn't like we saw quarterbacks like Mahomes who almost hit that score, and they didn't score any touchdowns. So volume is key, but the rushing upside to me is just very, very important. Jared Goff has 4 rushing attempts in 3 out of his last 4 games, but you can see they're not real. He's not doing anything with them. It's more like trying to avoid the sack for the most part. So I still prefer Russell Wilson over him. Now, I will say this. It does seem likely that the Seahawks are more likely to run the ball, being they have Carson, who's healthy. They got Penny back this week. And the Rams have kind of been babying Todd Gurley. He is a super contrarian play. He did get into the end zone. 11 targets, so they did utilize Gurley a lot in the pass game. If they're going to, this is all they have to do. He only had 5 carries because their team was losing. That's not even important on DraftKings. On FanDuel, that's going to bother you. On DraftKings, 2 receiving touchdowns, 7 for 11. Todd Gurley definitely, at the very least, in consideration, I'd say, this week. But I think Cooper Kupp, another interesting option. Double-digit targets in 3 out of his first 4 games. Look at those scores he's putting up, just monstrous. Jared Goff loves this guy. And I think that before I'd put Goff in the hot spot, I'd probably put Cooper Kupp there. I'm going to have 20 teams when I actually build these, so I'm going to have a little bit of, I'm going to have I'm going to be spread out. But this show is me trying to give you my preferred, optimal type build. For some contrarianism, Tyler Lockett, I think, may go overlooked in the hot spot, especially after only getting 4 targets in his last game. But again, they didn't need him. They won 27-10. Carson was tearing it up on the ground, got over 100 rushing yards. They were able to kill the clock a little bit and just kind of do their thing. Nobody got hurt. So I think Lockett's a prime candidate for a bounce back, especially considering we did see Godwin destroy these Rams deep. That's really where they kind of got screwed up. Lockett very, very fast. And there was a point in time when there were other receivers on this team and Lockett was just the deep guy. So I do like Tyler Lockett as a hotspot candidate as well. For this example, I'm in between Wilson or Lockett. I think I'll go with Wilson and see. Maybe you have to make that switch. With that said, if I am playing Wilson, I do want Lockett with him. You can see now we're at 65-75. Not a ton to spend. We may have to come down. Not a ton. I don't hate the idea of DJ Metcalf. I think Chris Carson is interesting. I don't like the fact that he just had a game where he had 26 touches, and now 4 days later he's got another game. Do like the fact that he's at home. That's nice. But Carson, I do like. If I was going to play Carson, I'd probably take Wilson out. I'd probably put Lockett in this hot spot and then play Carson and try to get some correlation. I don't mind Carson in the hot spot. I just want, and on DraftKings specifically, I want guys that have that explosive upside. I'm not saying Carson doesn't, but because of receiving plays are typically down the field, and the ceilings are just massively high for these receivers, I prefer to have a receiver there. So this would be if you didn't want to do the Russell Wilson, if you thought Seattle was just going to game plan. However, in this type of build, I probably would put in Cooper Kupp because I think one of these quarterbacks is going to have to throw, if not both. So that's one idea. But again, for this, we're going to do Russ. We're going to do Lockett. We're going to do Cooper Kupp. Running low on dough, as you can see. So we got Russ in the hot spot, throwing a Lockett. We got Cooper Kupp. I don't hate the idea of Lockett in the hot spot. I think for most situations, I would put Lockett in the hot spot. The only reason I have Russ in the hot spot for this example for today is because he runs. That's the only reason. Any other quarterback, like I said, if I was doing the Cooper Kupp golf thing, I'd put Kupp in the hot spot. You know what I mean? We're going to need some value in this situation. We're not taking Carson. You do have the option of Rashad Penny. He just hasn't been hyper efficient against Pittsburgh. He did show up. 6.2 yards a carry is good. Got a touchdown. He's a value option, but again, more of a running game deal. And one of the reasons I'm a little worried about Carson, I can see them using Penny a little more this week because of this short turnaround. Doing dirty dropping sevens. Defenses are tough. Like, you would expect this game to shoot out. That's not to say that these teams can't throw pick sixes and fumble, especially I got Carson on the field who does fumble a shit ton. But I don't think for this example I want one. The kickers I do want. I think Zerline specifically is like, look at this. Just 15, 9, 10, 13. Definitely want some Zerline action for value. Even if this game does shoot out. Meyer's also pretty good, but if I had to pick one, I'd pick Zerline. I think he's a better kicker. Although I will admit, the home team kickers typically I prefer. From there, looking for more value, because you can see we're going to need more value, it gets kind of interesting. So you got Everett here for the Rams. 8 targets last week against Tampa. That was a shootout type game. If you think this is going to be a shootout type game, why not take a shot here? He got a rushing touchdown last week, it looks like. 5 catches for 44 yards at 3,200. You would gladly take this. He was only 2,200 against Tampa. Oh, that's probably a showdown. Showdown. They probably had a showdown for that. My bad. The only problem with Everett is Higbee is also in there kind of snaring snaps. And you can see he got 7 targets. And he's even cheaper at 2K. So this situation, not so easy. This is one of the reasons on the showdown slate you're going to want to have a lot of teams. As far as the red zone leaders on the Rams, this is a good one. So far this season, red zone targets. Gerald Everett has 5 red zone targets. 5 for 5 in the red zone with a touchdown. Tyler Higbee, 4 targets, 3 touchdowns. He's second. And then Cooper Kupp is tied with him, actually. So they're both tied for second, Cooper Kupp. So Everett's leading the team in red zone targets. Higbee's like tied for second with Cooper Kupp. I think one of these guys is going to provide us with some of that value we're looking for. And to go down a little bit deeper if you want to, you do got Jaron Brown you can take a shot on. You got 6 targets against New Orleans, only got 3 against Arizona. But as you can see, the long was 16, the long was 30. They are throwing to him kind of down the field a little bit. And 30 yards, 50 yards, it's not bad for 1,400. If you kind of went backwards and got left with that, I'm okay with it. I think I'm sure there's guys I can spend time discussing to mix into your teams. But Luke Wilson is the last one I'll talk about for value. Playing for Seattle. At home, he's only $200. He got 2 targets. If he happens to fall in the end zone or get a play in the end zone for any reason, he pays off that $200. So if you were desperate for it, you could take it. For this example, we're going to go with one of these tight ends. I guess we'll start with Everett. Leaves us with 8,500. I don't love this range that it's leaving us with. Let's see what we would have to do to get Goff. 1,500. So if we go Goff, we got Jaron Brown. I don't hate this. You know, could we make it better? Probably, maybe. But in this particular build, we got Russell Wilson, Lockett, Jaron Brown, little triple action. We got Jared Goff and Cooper Kupp, which is like the shit. And you got Zerline in a build where like you're kind of hoping Seattle is winning and they're able to hold the Rams somewhat to some deeper field goals. We know the Rams will kick those field goals because they have confidence in their kicker. But I think for now, this is how we're doing the dirty. So, drop 7s, do dirties. It's what we do. We already know all that. Let's see. Anything you guys should know? Seattle's defense, 15th fantasy points against. So the 15th most fantasy points against for quarterbacks, 12th most for running backs, 21st for receivers, 13th for tight ends. So kind of does play in good, for one of those tight ends. So if we wanted to reach up to those tight ends, maybe Cooper Kupp's the guy we have to come off of, or we go off of Goff and go with like a Cooks or something like that. But if we wanted to get Everett in there, come down from Kupp to Cooks, very, very viable. So there you go. There's two different builds you can do. Cooks also looking pretty good so far to start the year. But as you can see, a couple different ways to go. I think this should be a super fun slate. And, we're going to have our boy Schreibeezy, Matt Schreiber, does our showdown articles to give the nation something to look at for these showdown slates. Gives a little bit of his opinion. That's one of his specialties in DFS is those showdown slates. So come check us out. We have 1 week passes for NFL. We've got monthly passes for all sports. We've got pretty much any kind of package you might want, whether your goal is to save money or your goal is just to try us out on a week-to-week basis. Come check us out. Come try the content. We're here. We know we do well. We know we give good information, and we know, bottom line, our main goal here is to help make you a better player. That's what we do. So come check it. Contest time. I told you guys we need 75 likes on this video or the contest doesn't go. Last time I challenged you guys for 50, and you guys rose to the occasion. So hallelujah, holla back. Love it. We need 75 likes in this video, so I recommend you like the video. As far as the contest, 1 month of all sports access with NBA coming. You'll get NBA included in this. It's coming. 1 month of all sports access, including Slack chat access, which is $24.99. That's the base price of it. I will give it to you for free if you can leave your comment in the YouTube comments. Leave a comment on what the final score. You have to pick the winner, Rams or Seattle, and give me the final score. You got to get it right. You got to get it right. We need 75 likes, and we'll do this. I will even throw in a Wise Take t-shirt. I'm not wearing it now because I can't find where I put it down. But we have Wise Take t-shirts in white and black, and we'll throw that in there as well. But you got to get it perfectly right. You got to nail the winner. We need 75 likes on the video, and you got to predict the score. All right, Nation, it was fun rocking with you. It's always fun rocking with you because you guys are just dope. Appreciate all you guys, man. Especially even those of you that aren't subscribed to wisetake.com. Just those of you that are subscribed to the YouTube channel and support us every time we put something out. We appreciate you too. So yeah, let's do the dirty. Dirties to our neighbors, as we always do. Drop sevens, do dirties, what we do. For myself, the entire White Tech Nation, as always, good luck.
Yeah.